Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. So the day has finally arrived where you can purchase my limited edition brushes that I've worked so hard on with a collaboration with Craftamo, and we are launching in about 5 or 10 minutes, something like that. I'm going to put a timer on the screen so that we can see when 5 minutes is approaching, so that we can count down. Many of you have already clicked through to Craftamo's website, where you can be notified as soon as we go live to buy these brushes. So the purpose of today is we're going to be painting in real time. I'm going to be painting the anemone that I did for the box here. I'm going to show you how to paint this using some pretty colours, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just to let you know, we are launching in about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll be painting this in real time for you, sharing my process, showing you how to get the best out of these delightful brushes that I've worked so hard on. These are brushes that I've carefully sized, that I've taken care that the bristle strength is correct, and all of that kind of thing, to make application for you as easy as I possibly can. So I'm going to start using my camera this side so that you can see exactly what I'm doing and speak to you properly about what's going on as we work through. So I'm going to flick cameras so that we can see exactly what's going on. Okay, here we go. All right. So first of all, if you want to join in with us, we have got let me just adjust the camera. For transparency, by the way, this is going to be a pre-recorded live. We had a few technical issues with the setup, so rather than me keep having to check the Wi-Fi connection and all of that kind of thing, I'm doing it as a premiere. That way I can be present in the comments so that I can answer all of your questions and guide you that way, rather than the video keep cutting out. So I was a bit worried about that happening. So let's have a look at what we're painting first of all, and then we can talk about the brushes in more detail, because they are of course the star of the show. I just want to make sure that my camera is perfectly lined up so that we've got everything in order here. So as you can see, I've already done the drawing. I already do the drawings on my YouTube channel. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that we provide you with all of these trace downs so that you can paint along with us. So if you don't draw, or if you don't like drawing, or if you can't draw, then it's not a problem, because we provide you with all of this stuff to paint along with us with. So here is what you'll be getting as your trace down. I'll tell you a bit later on how you can have access to these for absolutely free, so that you can do what I do, which is literally scribble on the back with an ordinary HB pencil, and then flip it over and then outline it. Sort of just press on that with a pencil, which will then transfer the imagery onto your watercolor paper. Okay, so that's what you'll be having for your free traceable. Now, ordinarily, we just give these digital version to our patrons. We do have a Patreon where we give you these. It's normally just a rough pencil drawing for YouTube, but as this is a special occasion, I'm going to be giving everybody this version to trace down. Okay, so more about that later on. So let's have a look at the box here. Please excuse my wire if it's in shot there. So we have the Helen Rae Campbell Craftamo box. You've already seen the video that I've done on the demo a couple of days ago on this. So you have a rough idea if you've seen that video on how we look inside. But let me just show you really quickly what we have inside the box here. So we've got a nice little design on the inside, the Helen Rae Campbell and Craftamo logo there in a beautiful rose gold, which matches the ferrule of the brushes. Inside the box, you are met with this gorgeous little print here of the other anemone, which is on the back of the box, and a bit of detail about Craftamo and me. So you'll need to go over to the Craftamo website, which is craftamo.com. And if you click through, you'll see my name, Helen Rae Campbell. And if you click through, you'll be notified when we go live in about 5 minutes or so. So like I said, I'll put the timer up on the top of your screen in a few moments so that you can see. We have 5 brushes in the set, and we'll be working with these today so that I can show you how to obtain the best from them. I'm so delighted with the way that these turned out. I can't tell you how pleased I am with them. They also look really beautiful. So yeah, it's been such a joy to work with Craftamo on these brushes. They're cruelty free, something I am very passionate about. And they look lovely, don't they? So we're going to be painting with these today. So we'll talk about those as we work through. But the design of the box was something that I had to consider carefully because I wanted everything to kind of correlate and look really pretty together. So I started off by printing off some photos that I had. And I always work from photographs. It's something that I like to do. So I thought about the anemone because it kind of, I love the colours and I like the fact that we're looking at these kind of muted really soft tones with a bit of a darker colour here. The colours that I've used, by the way, are from a Gallo, a brand I really like. I love the colours that they have, but if you want to join in with this tutorial, there's nothing to stop you from using any brand of paint that you've got. Okay, so you can use any colours really, but I have chosen these colours because I like them. I think they look really beautiful. These are the colours mixed together. I really like the look of that. When I was planning the design of the box, I did a really rough sketch like this. As you can see, it's very, very basic. I wanted this to have a kind of rough idea of where we're going with everything. And that was kind of a really rough design of the box. And then eventually, this is what I came up with. So I was really, really happy with it. I like the colours, I like the style. So this is what we're going to be painting today. It might not be exactly the same, but it kind of in the right, that's where we're going with everything. Okay, so let's make a start then on this stunning painting. Let me just make a slight adjustment to my screen here. When we are 5 minutes before launch, you'll see a little timer on the top of your screen. We're launching at 5 p.m. UK time. Let me just move my flowers out of the way. 5 p.m. UK, so I'm not sure what time that is with you. We're all over the world, so just keep an eye on that. Right, there's a Gallo paints, are the paints I'm using. I'm mixing the colours in my little etch palette here. This one's bought from Jackson's, really, really lovely for mixing because it's nice and keeps everything nice and separate. If I can get it out the tin. And the colours I've chosen, just to give you a rundown, they're from the Signature 24 set, but I have used one or two colours from the others as well. So Notturno, which is kind of like a browny tone, that's got a lot of granulation and it gives a really nice sort of separation effect that you can see here. It does granulate and it's a very, very special colour, one that I use quite a lot and I love it. So Notturno, Olive Green Deep, Periwinkle, which is like a really soft blue colour, Sap, which everyone has, Quinacridone Magenta. So that's where we're at with everything. Okay, now I don't normally sit down when I'm painting, so this is a bit strange for me. So let's have a look to see. I'm working from a photograph. Again, I can let you have a photograph to work from. So I'm going to start off by adding a puddle of water in my palette here. I always do this because it makes it easier to clean the brushes. If you're using a big jar of water and you're dipping your brush in that way, it can soak the ferrule of the brush, which we don't want. Okay, so let's make a start with the petals first of all. So I'm going to mix up this kind of colour here, which is this soft bluey kind of pinky tone. So let's open these up. So Periwinkle is this blue colour. Okay, so any kind of light blue colour that you've got would work just as well. I'm going to mix the Notturno, which is this really special colour I spoke to you about at the beginning. A lovely blue colour, a lovely kind of browny pinky tone. It's hard to describe it. It has purpley hues in it. It's PR179 and PB29. If you're interested in the pigment colours, you can mix something up yourself. And Quinacridone Magenta. We'll start off with these and see how we go. Okay, I've got a clean glass of water here and some kitchen paper. We're going to put that to the side and we can start painting with this. Now, the first brush that I'm going to use is my number 8 round. This brush is absolutely perfect for applying your initial washes Okay, just to give you, just look at that point. It's got such a fine point. It is absolutely beautiful. This is great for your finer detail as well as your overall washes. And you could even get away with painting your entire painting with this one brush. Okay, it is that good. But of course, I haven't given you one brush. I've given you a ton of others as well. I've given you a few others as well. So this is a new brush. I'm going to get the gum arabic that is, I'm just going to get that sticky stuff off it. So let's go in first of all with the Notturno. I'll try not to hit my wire. So Notturno is one of these granulating colours, so it's really, it'll separate out there on the palette, you'll see in a minute. I'm also going to do a puddle of Notturno with a bit of blue. Now this won't be exactly the same as my painting, but we're going to go somewhere really close to it. Okay, so we've got Notturno in there, Notturno with a little bit of the blue in there, and whatever's left on the brush, I'm going to add a little bit of quinacridone magenta to this puddle here. Let me just zoom in for you. We want these colours to be really watery to start with. Remember, watercolour is you know, finding the joy in that watercolour, making it as nice, as clear as possible. So let's just clean that brush. So by using that little puddle in the water there, by using the puddle in the middle, we're just getting rid of all that water from the brush. We can keep cleaning it. So a beautiful fine tip to be working with now. Okay, I'm going to start by, let me think. You can work wet and wet actually, but I'm just going to do another puddle here because it's a little bit dirty. So with this really watery mix, I'm going to go in here on this petal. So straight onto the paper. Okay. Just using the tip of that brush, and you can just pat it into that paper. My paper is textured, so it's a rough surface by Arches that I'm using today. So because of the texture on the paper, I'm just using that kind of patting motion to get it into the little grooves. If you're using a smoother paper, of course, you won't have to do that. So I'm just using that damp brush to just go around. If you get any of that paint in there, it doesn't matter if you're joining in with me, or you can keep this recording, of course, and just refer back to it. If you wanted to work wet and wet, you can do that. I'm going to skip the next one and go on to this one. There's still a little bit of pigment on the brush there, so we're just using a very, very pale colour. Okay, just pausing here just to let you know that we are now live over on Craftamo. These gorgeous brushes are now for sale, so head over and you can now finally purchase these brushes. Just doing it like this. And now that I've applied the water, although it's tinted, onto this one, I'm just picking up a bit of that Notturno. Notice how I'm having to kind of mix it in the palette. And then I'm just dropping it in and letting it do the work for me. Because of this fine point, if I just drop it like that, it'll just go into the paper, okay? I'm just picking up that darker colour on this bit here. And again, all I'm doing is dropping that in, and it's just doing the work for me. Just by patting that brush. This point is incredible, really, really beautiful. I'm just going to add a bit more water to that. And as the paint is drying, because I want it to be nice and tidy, I'm just using the tip of the brush there just to wiggle it into these. Okay, I'm going to add a tiny bit of the olive green deep. I'm running out of space, so I'm just going to get rid of that one. Olive green deep from A Gallo is, it has got a lot of yellow in it, and you'll see it separate on the palette. And I can use that yellowy tone from that colour as it separates out, so that's why I'm doing that. Okay. So let's have a look at, we've got a little bit of a leakage there where it's gone over. The blender brush that I've put within the kit, which is this one here. You can use this for wiping out any errors or anything like that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is use the brush, just damp, and it'll just wipe away where I've gone outside the pencil line. Because it's got a curved tip, it makes it so much easier for you. And you can lift out with this as well. So you could use that to just do any curved lift outs like that. If you wanted to just add a little bit of a highlight, you can. And it's got that nice curve, so you're not getting that flat line that you do with some of the other brushes. Okay, so it's really special. You should go back over that because it's bled into that because it's damp. Okay, we'll just sort that out. And then once you've lifted off, of course, you can just pat it dry with some kitchen paper like that. Okay, I'm not going to use the 1/2 inch flat brush today because it's not something I would ordinarily use for this kind of painting, but I have put it in the kit because I feel it's needed to do swatching and all that kind of stuff, as I demonstrated in the other videos. Also great for doing backgrounds, and it's definitely needed within the set, but I'm not using it today just for transparency. And again, just for transparency, we're not live as such. We are just pre-recorded live because of circumstances beyond my control. That meant that I couldn't do the live broadcast. Okay, so these, I'm just going to carry on painting. So let's go on to this one. So I'm trying to get the water as clean as I can. So just pick up some water and take it over the petal using the tip of the brush, like so. Because there's a little bit of pigment on the brush, you can see there's a colour there, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be painting over that. Going back to that Naturno, you see how it separates. You've got this bluey tone in there, and you can just drop that in using the tip of the brush and using that point and just dropping it in. Okay, we normally go nice and close on our tutorials, but because I just want you to give you an overview today of what we're doing. So use the brush to just let it do its thing, and it'll just drop into that really nicely. I'm going to pick a bit of that blue colour. I'm just going to vary it a little bit. I'll put the blue one here. So when we're painting flowers and things like that, you know, we have to be a little bit. Mother Nature isn't one colour, is it? It's kind of lots of different colours. It's about 15 minutes into the, I think everybody, I think that the brushes are now live on sale. So if you go over to Craftamo, check them out. If you've been notified, if you've put that notification click through after going to the website last week or whenever, all the times I've been talking about it, you can now click through and they're live for sale. I can't tell you how delighted I am. It's such a privilege to be working with people like Craftamo and giving me the opportunity to design my own brushes. So I'm so excited. Please check them out. Take a look at them and let me know what you think of them when you buy them. Give us some feedback. Tell me what you think. So at the moment, I'm just using this one brush. This is the number 8 round that I put in the set. It's slightly stubbier than normal number 8s. I think I meant to make it a little bit more stubby. But the key here is the point. The main part of this is that point. Because sometimes when you're painting, I don't know if you're anything like me, but you don't want to be switching those brushes all the time. You want to be... you know, you just want to sometimes have the same brush, you know, you want to keep it, you haven't got time to constantly change your brush. And it can be frustrating when you're having to think about what brush to use. Okay, so sometimes you just want to get on with it and just use one brush, then that's what you can just use, that one. It's perfect for that. So a little bit of a gap here. I'm going back to this kind of bluey colour, dipping in between the other colours here. I could take this over these because we're going to be painting over them, so it doesn't matter too much. I'm just going to stop talking for a while so I can carry on painting. Okay, but we are live now. Brushes are available for sale. And I'm just going to put a nice mixture of these two on this one. So see how I'm just varying those colours. This is a tiny bit of magenta, quinacridone magenta, with a tiny bit of the olive green deep. So we just want a natural look for these. And the thing about botanical painting, sometimes it can take a long time to do as well. So I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can for you. I'm just dipping between the colours now. That's dry, so I can go over that. Okay, you can see the fine point on this brush. I don't need to keep switching and swapping over. And just go on with it. Just get on with the job. So like I said, because the paper's textured, I wanted to keep it like straight up to that pencil line. So you have to pat if you're using textured paper. Because this is 100% cotton, it absorbs the paint really, really quickly. So just keep that in mind if you're using, this is Arches and it's rough surface, okay? It's one that I like, I've used it a lot. What are we doing here? I think we're gonna go back to the Turno, just checking that's dry and back over. I'll do the other petals in a minute, but I just want to show you the middle bit next because I want you to see and start showing you some of these other brushes. So if you have a look at the video that I did on the 13th, so 2 days ago, you can see there, again, I'm just going to the pinky tone. I'm running out of space on my palette, but we can put that there. And add in a lot of water because, you know, I want this to have a nice looser look. A little bit of that olive green deep. So we've got all these different colours going on now. And just using the brush there. Let's get all these petals on really quickly for you. So just checking. Remember, if you've got any questions, please ask me in the comments. I am live in the comments, everybody. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. If you want to know anything about me, if you want to know about anything about the brushes. Let me tell you about the reference photograph that I mentioned at the start. If you want to have access to that, all you need to do is I'll put it right at the end of the live. You can screenshot it and you can print it out that way, okay? Obviously, I'll be putting it over on Patreon for my patrons to have as a download. And I'll also put it on our Facebook group if you haven't joined us there already. We are the Wonders of Watercolour. I'll link it in the description box. Please don't be put off by the fact that it's a Facebook group. We are a fantastic team. We are heavily moderated. And I want to say a big thank you actually to my moderators and admin because girls, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't do anything. Seriously, I can't thank you enough. So that we have Vicky, Adele, Mike, Mike and Rose, who's my admin, as well as lovely Claire. And a special thanks to Rose because, you know, you go beyond the call of duty, but you're all amazing girls and I can't thank you enough for the work that you do for me, seriously. So everybody, if you want to head over to our Facebook group, it isn't like any other Facebook group. I'm so proud of it. Yeah, so check it out. Check it out. I promise you. I'm just going to take this over. What's left on the brush, I'm going to take it over these to speed it up. We're looking a little bit untidy here, but we can just use the tip of the brush to manipulate that paint like that. So we've got all these different colours now on the petals. So check out the Facebook group, The Wonders of Watercolour. The girls will look after you. If you get lost, we can give you advice. We can show you, you'll have access to all our reference photographs for all our tutorials on YouTube because we offer a learn to paint as you paint approach to painting, which means that you can, you know, if you're not a seasoned painter and you're somebody who wants to start painting but doesn't know where to start, we are not your traditional painting tutorials as such. We don't do things like colour wheels and colour theory. We're more about painting what you see in front of you and making sure that you know how to paint, just making sure that my light is okay here for you. Yeah, so we are a kind of learn to paint as you paint channel. So you're learning as you go along without the stress. I know it has its place, colour theory and colour wheels and all that thing. I know it has its place, absolutely does. I particularly struggled with that when I was learning how to paint. And so I'm more of a learn to paint as you paint, but you'll know it if you know my channel. So, but anyway, my point being, I digress. We need to go over to the Facebook group if you're interested in learning how to paint, and you can have access to all our references there. Okay, we are now on the number 4. So this one here, I've spoken about it before. I'll show you it in a minute, close up. So I'm using the olive green deep. I did use a bit of sap in the other one, but I might not. So this one here, this brush is absolutely perfect for when you've applied your first wash, and you can just use the number 8 for your finer detail. But this one, it has a stubbier bristle. Let me see if I can focus it in for you. So yeah, it has a stubbier bristle, and it makes application a lot easier. Just very, very, oh, I might have focused there, aren't I? Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, super lightweight, and will make application very, very easy for you. So you can go, just going to vary that a little bit. I'm just using it almost like a marker pen here. Just look at that control. Really, really good for getting in those little corners, no fuss. Because of the stubbier bristle, and the bristle on this one is slightly different to these. You've heard me talk about these on the other video, but in case you missed it, the cream and the tan colour bristles that I've got on the number 8 and the flat brush are slightly softer than the bristles that I've got on these. So these are a slightly more, they're not stiff, but they are stiffer, so that you can control the paint better. Okay, make sure that that's dry if you're going to go up to that line there. So just mixing this up. Just want to check that everything's in focus. Remember to keep chatting away in the comments, guys. I'm here to help you and give you any information that you need on these paints, on these brushes rather. So just ask away if there's anything you'd like to know about them. That's what I'm here for. That's why we're live in the comments. So keep asking, and if there's anything you want to know about the brushes, or just head over to Craftamo. We are live there now for sale, finally, after all this time, after all the amount of work that we've done. I'm so pleased to be able to share these with you today. I can't tell you how excited I am, really. Okay, so I'm going on to the bottom part here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. Hold on. Maybe you can see that okay. So just this brush can go straight onto the paper, wet on dry. Super, super easy. And you can see the way I'm using it here. Look at the control that you can get. This is my number 4, and it's a stubbier version of the round brush. Okay, it's much, much shorter than a standard round bristle. And I wanted to design it so that it had the right length bristle. When we did the prototype, it was a little bit too long. It wasn't quite right. So we did a bit of tweaking on that one to get it absolutely as I wanted it to be. So this one was probably the hardest one to make. But we're going to be using as many of them as we can, and I will be using them in upcoming tutorials as well over on our channel, so stay tuned for that. I have been using them for a few of the other tutorials before we launched, just so that you could see their performance, but now I can reveal that they are my brushes, of course. So we are now available for sale, so you need to head over to Craftamo, check my link in the description box where you can see Helen Rae Campbell over there. I just want to paint these really quickly without putting my hand over what I've just done, making sure that I'm not doing that. So, are we still recording? I just want to get this on. Remember, watercolour is all about building up your layers. So you put your first layer on, you let that dry, working from light to dark, building these colours up as we go. So primarily what I would do is use the number 8 round brush to get my first wash on, so that's a bigger area. And then I'm going to be using this one next. This is kind of my standard sort of application method. So number 8, and then I'm going to use my number 4, which is what I'm doing now. And then I will scoot down to my number 2 to do the finer detail. But you'll see me do that in a minute. So painting this in real time. I think it was a bit unambitious actually, wasn't it? It's quite a big one to do. But that's okay. That's okay. We can do this. So paint that on. So remember, I'm live in the comments to answer your questions. So please ask me anything you want to know. The brushes are now for sale over on Craftamo. We launched a little while ago. So head over to Craftamo and you'll see my name, Helen Rae Campbell. And you can purchase these brushes. They are limited edition and we are anticipating that they're going to go very, very quickly. So if you want to grab yourself a brush, please click on that link. They will go quickly. I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I'm going to just use this wet petal. I'm going to go actually back to my number 8. I'm going to put my number 8 round brush in the middle here. The water's a little bit murky. I'm going to stop and just change that in a moment. So ordinarily, plain water in the middle. Okay, this is our first layer, don't forget. So using my brush, this is the number 8 round with that beautiful pointed tip. Going to mix Naterno. This is that funny colour. It's not funny colour, it's a beautiful colour. It's a kind of, it's PR179 PB29. It's from A Gallo. I've applied the water. Water's a little bit discoloured, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be dropping in this colour, okay? So once it's just had a minute or two to settle, when you're working wet and wet, just give your paint a second or two to sink into that paper, a minute. It depends on the kind of paper that you're using. But what you need to do is just drop this in and let it do the work for you. I'm using the tip of the brush. You can see what I'm doing here, like that. And then you can make sure that these are dry, by the way. You must make sure that that's dry before you do that, because otherwise that's going to bleed into the wash there. So, and then I'm just using the tip of the brush to pull that colour up. I'm not as close as I'd like to be today, everybody, because this is kind of like a sort of live paint along. Just to reassure you that normally on our YouTube channel we do lots of close-up work, and the same for Patreon as well, more detail and closer up shots, but I wanted to give you an overview. Let's just have a look. Actually, we haven't got the shot of the lovely box inside, have we? So let's see if we can put that there so that you can have a little look on the side there. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just putting that brush to just do its thing. Because this is a granulating paint, excuse me, it's separating out on the paper there. So just use the tip of the brush to pull it into the shapes where that pencil line is, like that. Okay. Remember, I'll answer all of your questions in the comments. I am live in the comments while we're running this premiere. To answer any questions that you have about the brushes, I'm more than happy to help you. So ask away. Remember, we are now live for sale. Go over to Craftamo, look at Helen Rae Campbell, and you can grab yourself a box of these brushes. There are 5 in the set. They have been handcrafted by me with the collaboration with this amazing brand called Craftamo, as you know. I'm using my blender brush. We want to just lift out a tiny bit here where we've got the stamen and anther. So I'm just patting that in, and that will really quickly and easily lift out that middle bit. Now I have to be patient now and let this dry a little bit before I can start to build on any of the layers. But you can see by putting that first wash on, look, you can just use the curve of that brush because we've got the curved element here, okay? And I'm just going to give that a minute or two to dry and change my water. If I do sound a little bit different, I have changed mics, but let's have a look at the job in hand. This is now dry enough to start putting some detail on. Now, there's nothing wrong, as I said, with using these other brushes to do, and you could use this to do the finer detail, just to show you, picking up some of the Naterno there. and you can still do beautiful fine detail with that. Okay, but as a botanical artist, I wanted to be able to really control my paint. And one of the things that keeps coming up on Facebook groups and when people are talking to me, one of the things they struggle with the most is overworking their paintings, and having the ability to use your paint in a way that doesn't make it look overworked is critical to botanical painting. So we have here the number 2 round brush. Now, this has got a fine point, so it's great for doing your finer details like the stamen and anther, for example, or even the veining on a painting that you see. So if you're looking for a brush to put your finer detail, then this is the brush for you. You can do it with your number 4. If you've got this set, this is the great sort of second brush to use. So if you're looking at in terms of application and when you would use them, the number 8 would be the first brush for your bigger washes. Then you would go in with your number 4, which is your applicator brush, where you can control your watercolor washes in a way that you might have struggled with before because you've got this stubbier bristle. Now, if you compare this to the number 2, you can see how much longer the number 2 bristle is, okay? So let me see if I can get nice and close for you there. When I designed these, I wanted it to be really, really apparent that these are 2 very different types of application brush. So now that this is dry, let me show you how I would use this to get even more detail than I've got already. I'm trying not to get paint all over me. So again, back to Naturno, this super versatile colour from A Gallo. Notice how it's separating on the palette there. These granulating paints are always lovely to use for botanical painting. I know that some people are really worried about using them for botanicals, but when you think about it, right? In nature, you've got all these different colours, and colours are never flat. So, which is why I wanted to put this in. So I'm picking up my paint with this number 2 round brush. This is dry, pretty much okay for me to go over now. And I'm just using this brush to go in and out of the stamen and anther in the middle. I'm making this up. I'm not going to go exactly to the photo. So I'm working around the pencil line that I applied to start with. Remember, you can have access to this outline if you want it. I'm going to put it right at the end of this live so that you can pick it up yourself and draw and join in with us later if you want to. And it's the same for the other one that we did a couple of days ago where we painted this one. This is inside the box and also the back of the box. Again, we've got a free outline for that as well. So you can just check that out on the other video that was launched on the 13th. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got going on here. So I'm just taking this darker value around stamen and anther, like that. Now I'm cleaning my brush. Let me just move this in shot. I'm cleaning my brush in that little puddle of water, okay, patting it onto the kitchen paper, and with this damp brush, I'm lifting it up into this bit here. This bit is lighter, so with that damp brush, I've got full control of that paint. Cleaning my brush, passing it dry, and then what's left on the brush, I can go into this little bit here. And they are very, very lightweight. Remember, they are now live for sale over on Craftamo, so head over to Craftamo, Helen Rae Campbell, and you can buy yourself a set of these 5 brushes. Now, ideally, if I were painting this in not real time and I was filming it for you, what I would do is go in much more detail around these petals, okay? But because we're live, I'm just going to simplify this today. So again, I'm going over the bits that I've just put in and wiggling that brush in between some of the sort of spiky bits that we've got here. So I'm going to take this brush and just start pulling up a few of these lines so that you can see how it performs. Okay, just pulling those up. Look at that fine line. So we've got some of this sort of stamen and anther here, which I'm just going to go around and outline for you. So where I've done that pencil line, I'm now going over that pencil line like that, and then in the middle, just to create the shape of some of these. So do a little circle. Your petals must be dry to do this, don't forget. but you get full control of that brush. So just work around. I'm just sort of randomly doing these now for you really quickly. As we come into the middle here, this is now sort of drying a little bit. I'm pulling that up with that same brush into the middle. And we've got these kind of curved lines. This is still slightly damp, so we're not going to have that sort of absolutely solid line. So into that damp area there. Back to the Naturno, and I'm going to go around some of these to enhance them now. Just using that wiggly motion. And although it's a sort of nice pointy brush, I've still got that control. Going over these, nice and easy. We've got this kind of basic shape in place now, haven't we? So we can just make it as easy as we can. All about simplifying it. Work around. And just carry on. Pattern that brush. If you want a nice sharp edge, you can go in. I haven't shown you the blender brush yet. This is one of the stars of the shows as well, so stay tuned for that. So I'm just going around the stamen and anther. And the filaments, I guess these are, aren't they? Cleaning my brush, patting it dry, and with that damp brush, we can just pick up the outside edge that we've applied there, and just pull it in like that. So we've got this nice line coming across, and I'm pulling that line up, just pulling it. I really like these colours I've chosen. I hope you like them too. As I said in one of the other episodes that we've done for this launch, I wanted the whole thing to look aesthetically pleasing as well as performance. Performance is what it's all about, okay? But they are pretty looking brushes as well, and I wanted them to look, you know, botanical painting is a pretty thing to do, and I wanted the whole thing to kind of hang together nicely. And I hope you like the design of the box as much as I do. Let me know in the comments. Remember, I am live in the comments today, so you can ask me any questions about botanical painting, about the brushes, anything you want to know. Do ask me, and I'm right here with you, painting this with you. I'm not live as such, but I'm live in the comments. I wanted to be able to speak to you as I'm painting, but due to technical errors and glitches that we had in my area where I live, it's they're digging up the road, and I didn't want to lose transmission or anything like that, so I decided to pre-record. Going back to this kind of bluey grey colour here, this is a mixture of, anyway, this is this blue colour. Okay, this is from A Gallo. I did mention it at the start. And I'm just going to drop a little bit of that in here and there, just to give a bit of variation. Let me tell you what the colour is. Here we go. It's Periwinkle. Periwinkle from A Gallo. Another petal there. This is a beautiful blue colour. And I'm just going to add a little bit to here, just to give it that variation. Remember, with watercolour, you can continue to build up your layers. This is the finer brush of the set, and I still haven't shown you that other brush. So what I'm going to do now is take the end of that, add a bit of water to the tip of some of the petals, and just add it to there. Give that a minute, a second even, to give it a second to settle in. We're going to do some more here. Picking up some of that green, I'm just dropping that in. Okay, so we're adding a bit of variation to that petal. With this brush, the fine detail, you can just now start to pull in some veins if you wanted to do that. Look how thin those veins are. Can you imagine painting a flower where you've got all that detail and you can just put veins in with ease? Naturno to this damp area and just drop that in. And what that's done is it'll just naturally burr into the outside edge of that petal. Okay, so remember, the brushes are now live. They're for sale. We launched, I don't know, about half an hour or so ago. So if you head over to Craftamo, look at Helen Rae Campbell, and you can buy yourself a set of these limited edition brushes. I'm painting in real time today. We are Friday the 15th of September 2023, and finally you can now grab yourself some of these brushes. So Just look at that fine detail. I'm going to do some more here so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to pick up, not my camera, let's pick up some Naturno. Take off the excess, and I'm just going to add a few veins here. So the great thing about this brush, I know this is the wrong colour that I'm using, but I wanted you to see. The great thing about this brush, okay, is when you're doing your fine detail on your paintings, you might find that you have to keep going back. If you're using it like a tiny 000 brush, you're going to have to keep going back into your paint to pick it up. But look at this. Just look at the detail. And of course, you can go in a little bit heavy-handed, more heavy-handed if you want to. So you know, the detail, you can use it to apply paint as well. So they're all around good brushes, okay? Ordinarily, I would like to add a bit more detail to these, but I'm just, because we are live and, you know, time is moving on, botanical paintings do take a long time, everybody. Not a long time, but, you know, they take longer than maybe a live broadcast would permit. So I'm going to do a few more tweaks to this to show you before we wrap this up. But I wanted you to have a better idea of how we do things with these brushes. So you can see I'm just kind of working around other layers. Now, of course, we can keep building up layers with botanicals, with watercolour rather, botanicals or any kind of painting. You can use these brushes, by the way. You don't have to be a botanical artist. You can be any artist. I'm going to just pick up a bit of these two. We've got that lovely blue colour and a little bit of that greeny tone. And go over this now. I'm still using that detail brush. You can see you can still use that. I'm going to drop in a bit of Naturno as well because I want these to be different. I want them to stand apart like that. Clean your brush and then blend that through. So this is the one I would use for the finer detail. So for example, this one here, I'm going to mix again a bit of Naturno, take the excess off, and then just look at that fine detail. Absolutely so easy to do. Great for veining. Just a breeze. It does make light work of everything. Honestly, I'm so delighted with the performance of these brushes. I'm just putting these in for you. It's not actually in the photograph, but I just wanted you to see how easy it is. Going back to that Naturno, I need to mix a little bit more. I will put a full materials list in the description as well, so if you want to check out the colours that I've used, you can. But of course, there's nothing to stop you from using your own colours and just joining in anyway. So again, I'm just going to, this paint is still wet, so I'm not able to do the detail there. Let's have a look at these actually. I want to have a little look at the leaf detail. So going back to what I'm calling my applicator brush. This is sap green with olive green deep, and we've got that darker colour there now. The blender brush, by the way, remember I said it's got this kind of curved, let me show you close up again. It's a modified, if you'd seen the video that I did that we launched on the 8th, where I did an unboxing of these, this is a modified version of the filbert. So what we have here is a very lightweight stubby brush with a curved tip. So when we're doing our lifting out and our blending, so much easier, because let me see if I can show you on this one here. So imagine that you need a bit of negative painting. You'd pat your brush in some cold water, in some water, and then you can have better control of your lift out. So I'm just going to pat that dry. See how easy that was. And again here, so we've got this line coming down. I don't think I did a very good job there. Let's do that again. So it's firm enough so that you can lift out your colour, and it's the right curve shape. So we'll come down here, just a little bit of pressure on the paper, and because you've got that curve, okay, and it's also great for blending your colours together. So here, for example, where we've got that hard edge, use it damp, and just blend your colours together with that damp brush. And it's just the right shape to get into all those corners. Hard edge gone. That's how easy it is. And again here, I've gone outside the pencil line. We all do that, don't we? So if you've gone outside a pencil line, you want to tidy any of those edges up, you know, it's quite robust. You can go in. When you're painting with watercolour, you may notice that the paint retracts a little bit from that outside edge. So again, great for that. You can now use your blender to push it up to that pencil line, okay, and just get rid of any hard edges that you want to blend together. When you get used to using this brush, you probably find that you will wonder how you coped without it. Where I've painted in these veins, what you can do, a little trick that I like to use from now and again, is go in between the veins with your blender brush, really lightly, make sure that everything's dry. Okay, go in between those veins and then with your kitchen paper, press. Look at that. You get this almost, it just gives it another level. It makes those veins look deliberate. So you can see I'm just using that brush. Look how it goes in between those little curves. Kitchen paper, gone. And here you can do the same. You can continue your veins. You've started to paint them in. You see this line coming down here? You can continue it with that blender brush right into those corners. Super easy. Here I might want to add a little bit of a vein, that curved shape. You have to wiggle it around a little bit and then lift, okay? I might want to put a vein in here. So again, use the blender. I'm so proud of these brushes. Oh, look, I'm just too excited. It literally just lifts it up for you. I'm just going to do a bit more so that you can see. There we go. I'm going to put another one on here actually. So you've got this lovely curved edge, and this, remember, is a slightly stiffer bristle because we've got the tan and the cream for these two. So these are slightly softer, but not soft. I wanted something with, you know, that really packed a punch. I want you to have full control of your painting, which is why we've got these. Great for applying everything. But of course, the darker colours on the bristle means that they are a slightly more stiffer bristle, but they're not stiff at all. You'll know what I mean when you buy them, if you buy them, and I do hope you like them as much as I do. What I wanted to show you actually, again going back to this blender brush, because this is kind of a really special brush. When watercolour dries, it retracts and it does this very strange thing where you get this kind of funny edge. This is great for sorting that out. So I'm just using it here, or any pigments that haven't quite blended together as you want them to. Use your blender for that. So here you can just use your brush, going over the entire thing really lightly, and it merges those colours together and it gets rid of any sort of weird edges. And it will lift out some of the colour if you press a little bit harder, and get rid of any edges that you want to just blot away. What this will do in real life when you're painting is it'll give your paintings more realism, because when your paintings are flat, they won't look right. I'm going to add a little bit of the quinacridone magenta to the Naturno, hoping that this is dry enough. And it's not quite dry, but I'm going to just go and do it anyway. Just painting over that little crease there. Go into the green that I've just mixed up, and we can now apply this straight onto the paper. This is my number 4 brush. This is the one with a stubbier bristle to make the application a lot easier. Look how easy it is going on with that brush, because of that stubbier bristle, it gives you full control. Okay, straight onto the paper. Really, really easy. Where we've lifted out that paint, we can now go over that if you want to. So we've got that little negative space in the middle where we've just used that blender brush to lift it out. Going back in, around that negative space to create that vein down the middle. Okay, so it does make the application very, very easy. Okay, you've got full control of that brush. The purpose of designing this brush was to help you get full control of your paint. And you can take that point and go right up to your petal now because you've got that sharp edge. Okay, nice and easy. Take your time with your paintings as well. Remember not to be rushed, just to be enjoyed. Not going strictly to the photo, but I just wanted to show you what you can do is apply the paint, clean your brush and pat it, and then just use that damp brush to blend it out. So you've got a bit of a transition going on here, and that's it. So I'm not going to paint all of this, and I'm not going to have time to do all of this, but I wanted to just add a bit more detail here for you. Again, this is my number 4 brush, and you can still use this, remember, to do some of your detailing. You can pull it up to do some lines for some of the stamen and anther and the filaments and all that kind of stuff. You can add a few more if you want to. And I'm taking this brush and I'm just curving it like this, so just curved lines to create the middle of that plant like that. Okay. So remember, these brushes are now for sale, they're live, we can finally sell them to you, and I honestly know you're going to love them as much as I do. They were, it took us a while to perfect them. I wanted them to be absolutely perfect, and you know, everything from the design in the handle and the colour, the size of the bristle, all of those things, you know, they all play a part in application. And having the opportunity to design brushes myself, because obviously I've been recommending different brushes over the years, and I still love those brushes, by the way, if you've got them. But to have the opportunity to have something that I know is going to work and help me as an artist, as well as you, is such a fantastic opportunity. So thank you very much to Craftamo for giving me the chance to, you know, help you paint and give me the chance to have my own brushes. Remember, everybody, that they are limited edition. So using that brush, again, this is the number 4. You can see how lovely those fine lines are. I'm not going to be able to do too much more because of the time, but I'm still in the comments. Ask me any questions. If you need to know anything about these brushes, I'm more than happy to help you. They are synthetic brushes, they're cruelty-free, something that's important to me. So, you know, again, I'm going to go actually on the, this is darker. I'm going to do this darker. It's not darker on the photo, but just to show you. Yeah, these are cruelty-free brushes, and, you know, they perform exceptionally well. So just going around that, just to give it a bit of detail. You can go in between these. So the only brush I haven't shown you is the flat brush, but that's something I'm going to be doing in all my other tutorials, because it's not something I would use for a botanical painting like this. I would use it maybe to do the background, that kind of thing. So just taking it and just enhancing some of the colours here. I'm going to go back to the number 2. So just to remind you, these brushes are now, you can now purchase them yourself. We are finally able to sell them to you. We are live in the comments. So head over to Craftamo and you can now buy them. Finally! So just take that line. You can see I'm just adding some random veining for you to see how I would do it. So don't take any notice of the colour that I'm using. Just add that line. I like to outline my work. Sometimes if you're familiar with my work, you'll see me do this quite a lot. I like to just give it a little bit of an outline. Some of the areas with botanical painting, I like to have that sharper edge. So I'll do that. Picking up Naturno, picking up the mixture of the greens there, and getting that darker value on the outside edge. So I'm applying that. So I think we're going to draw this live premiere to a conclusion. Just going around the outside there. This is the number 2. So the brushes are now live. You can buy yourself a brush by heading over to Craftamo where you can buy this stunning set of 5 brushes in this beautifully presented box, and you can grab the outline and the photograph to work from. If you want that, I'll put it at the end of this live broadcast, so you can pause the screen and then you can print it out yourself, okay? Remember, we are every single week over on YouTube. We provide you with free tutorials, mostly botanical, but we do other stuff. So you can use your new brushes to try out our tutorials. We will be using them so that you can paint along with us, just to give you the heads up that we are a few weeks in advance over on YouTube, but you will see me using them in the tutorials after we've gone live with them. So you'll be able to put them into practice yourself to create beautiful pieces of art. Let's just take another look at them and appreciate them in their glory. Our 5 brushes in this set from Craftamo, a collaboration that I'm immensely proud of, and I can't tell you how happy I am with the performance of these brushes. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to absolutely finish this piece, but time is moving on. It's gone on for quite a long time, but hopefully it's given you the gist of what we do and how you can purchase these brushes for yourself. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and thank you for the comments in the comment box. I've done my best to help you answer the questions, and hopefully you found it helpful. I'm still going to be around in the comments. If you want to ask me anything, please feel free to do so, including anything you want to know about your painting, not just about the brushes, but if you're struggling with anything, that's why I'm here. I'm always on hand to help you. Remember to check out these brushes over on Craftamo. I'll put the link to the site underneath this video in the description box. So all you need to do is click that and just check them out yourself. I know you won't be disappointed with them, because I've spent so long designing them and making them help you get the best out of your painting. Thank you so much for watching today. I can't thank you enough for giving me the time to explain these to you, and I hope you fall in love with them as much as I do. Click over to that link, grab yourself a box and enjoy them. Join in with our tutorials and I'll show you how to paint with them. Once again, thank you so much, much love. So let's just take a moment to check out that box.